Welcome to the ShutOut Report, proudly sponsored by our mates, Healthway, through their Act Belong Commit program. With us today is a bevy of awesome people. This is the biggest interview we've ever had. It's Sledge Hockey Manitoba. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Daniel. Daniel.
This is awesome. I've never had so many guests on a Zoom call doing an interview before, so this is really a first. Let's go around the group and say who you are and what position you play and what you do in Sledge Hockey.
Okay. Where do you want to start, Daniel?
We'll start with you, Darren.
Okay, sure. My name's Darren Luke, and I've been playing sledge hockey probably the longest out of most of everybody. I started in Ontario in 1998. So that's been a long time. So I think I was 22 or 23 back then, and I'm 44 now. So it's been a long time. And I play left wing with the Manitoba Sledge Hockey group.
Great.
You know it's recorded, Darren? So now your age is like permanently like out there.
I'm perfectly fine with that. Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Wait till we get to Josh.
So, Sean, what do you do in Sledge Hockey?
Hey, I'm Sean. I'm 45. I play defense. I kind of help coach on ice a little bit when I can. I play forward. I play wherever they need me. I kind of just help and do what I can to progress the sport and be a team
so
player.
you're a bit like a rover in the AFL then.
Cool. Yes.
And James, what keeps you busy in Sledge Hockey?
Oh boy, just I guess playing the sport keeps me busy. But I joined the group 2007. I think that was the first year that we started. Unless I'm correct. Okay, great. And then I played part-time for the first year, and then they kept on harassing me, and I eventually joined full-time a year later. And my primary position is center/wing. As I get older, I'm moving down the depth chart. So I'm 47 years old now.
It's so interesting to see where people play. And we've got a few defense men and forwards, as it seems so far. Bill, what makes you love Sledge Hockey?
Well, Sledge, we started the program, John and I both actually at the same time, coincidentally implemented Sledge Hockey in 2007. And before I go any further, Sean's pretty modest because he didn't say it, but I'll say it for him. He was also the first individual from Manitoba to make the Canadian national developmental team.
No way.
I'll save John's intro for himself. And I guess I'm the best analogy for me in sledge is I'm a player, but I guess I'm also the cook, bottle washer, organizer, equipment manager, organizer. So
everything, yeah, that is
wonderful.
So true.
And John, is that a Vancouver Canucks jersey you've got there?
It's the Moose jersey, but they were affiliated with the Canucks for one point.
Right.
But it is a Canucks hat that I'm wearing.
Right. Well, I have Canadian family who would be very pleased with you. So, you've been built up, John. What's your Sledge Hockey background?
I've been playing sledge hockey since 2007, since we've pretty much started the whole program. And I was kind of the one guy that came out in full gear. So Bill and Sean and basically stuck me in net and sort of said, have at her. And then I just sort of stuck with being a goalie. And that kind of allowed me to kind of climb up the rankings within Canada and was looked at for Hockey Canada for a couple of years.
That is awesome. Who would have thought we'd have such a diverse, awesome group? In 5 words, how would you describe Sledge Hockey Manitoba and Sledge Hockey in Manitoba?
Before we go, Dan, I don't want to interrupt, but we forgot Sam.
Oh, Sam, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. So
I didn't see you there.
It's okay. I tend to hide every now and then. So I'm Sam. So I've been involved with Sledge Hockey since 2007 as well. Started when Bill and John started the program. Initially started off as a winger. Got moved back onto the D line, where I've been ever since. And if I'm not sitting there playing D, then I'm usually the one that's going in for the body check. So I'm one of the big enforcers out there.
So the John Scott of the Sledge Hockey Manitoba then.
There you go.
I hold the record for being in the first sledge hockey fight in Manitoba.
No, it's being recorded.
You're about the same weight as John Scott too, aren't you, Sam?
Probably.
Yeah.
So a fight in Sledge Hockey, that's very rare to have come through. Please say it was recorded somewhere.
It wasn't recorded, but there's many great tales to tell from it. So
Yeah, lots of tales.
So what's it like playing Sledge Hockey in Manitoba?
Anybody want to answer? You guys open it up and go ahead.
Go ahead, Darren.
Well, to me, it was really, really special to start sledge hockey back up in Manitoba, mainly because when I played in Ontario, I came back in 2003, and there was no program whatsoever. So I ended up doing a couple other things. I tried wheelchair basketball, couldn't get used to that. Sean and I did some water skiing together. We did that, and then once sledge hockey got started through Bill and John, it was amazing for me, just because I was able to get into it with a group of guys that were the same as me, all different disabilities and things like that, but had one common goal of just loving the sport and playing as hard as we could with what we had.
Yeah.
Yeah. So does anyone else want to answer the question?
I started. I'll
go
go ahead.
Go ahead, Sean.
I got involved with it. John got me involved with it. I grew up playing able-bodied stand-up hockey. So, and I fell asleep driving, had a car accident in 2000. And like Darren said, we got involved in some water skiing because that was really the only adaptive sport we could really do. But as soon as sledge hockey came into to Winnipeg, we dropped water skiing, never went back.
Yeah.
Stuck with sledge. You know, once you get that, go back to that dressing room and hang out with the guys and, you know, bust each other up. You just miss that camaraderie between the teammates, and you end up being a family. Like, we've been together for so long that we're not even a teammates. We're like family now. So it's good.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, what is the thing that you love about sledge hockey? Is the family component, or is it actually being on the ice and being physical as a para player?
Oh, I love being on the ice. I go to the outdoor rinks. I spend as much time as I can in my sled. Like, I enjoy it. I enjoy teaching. Just every aspect of hockey, live and breathe it.
I think it's not to underestimate the camaraderie that has occurred because of sledge hockey. And one prime example is when I was in high school. I started when I was 17, so when I was in high school, I needed to learn how to drive, and so my parents didn't have an accessible vehicle, and so Darren ended up actually being the one that taught me how to drive. And so, like Sean said, it is a family, and, we've leaned on each other for a lot of things. So the camaraderie is, for me, is such a huge piece, but, there's just that special feeling about being on the ice and just hearing the crunch of the ice.
Yeah, it is kind of addictive being on the ice and, shooting and passing. And I mean, we don't have body contact yet. Thinks there's contact, but there isn't yet. He's a great player. He plays defense, but we put him in the forward line. When was the first time you saw sled hockey? Good question. So anyone from the floor can answer it.
You want to answer, John? Or
I'll answer it.
Yeah.
I first saw sledge hockey back in 2007 during the women's world championships that were being held in Winnipeg at the MTS Center, which is now called the MTS Bell Center or Bell MTS
Place.
or whatever. I don't know what the arena is, but in an intermission, they had a demonstration with the national team out on the ice. And then that was my first exposure to it. From there, Hockey Canada had some of the higher ups and coaching staff and management at the game. And then I talked to them, and more along the lines of like, do I qualify for if I wanted to pursue this at a high level or whatnot? And basically they were like, okay, do you have a disability? And I'm like, I have cerebral palsy. Yes, you do qualify. There's some rules aspects of it that you have to kind of follow under, but you get tested for all that kind of stuff when you're up at that level. And then the manager put me in contact, funny enough, because we contacted Hockey Canada right around the same time. Hockey Canada thought Bill and myself were kind of working together. Like we knew each other prior to emailing them about it. So they put us in contact, and from there, basically, Sledge Hockey Manitoba was basically born, and Manitoba Possible basically has created a great program from the very beginnings of using cast iron sleds that were stuck in the basement to the more advanced ones that Unique makes now. So that's basically my experience with seeing it first, and I've actually seen it start up from the ground up here and then gone to Ontario and Alberta and see their program develop. And it's what Manitoba Possible has actually done with the resources that they have is actually leaps and bounds. Is huge with from other provinces that I've seen personally. So I can't give it enough and to be honest, everything that we have with Sledge Hockey Manitoba isn't for the hard work that Bill has put in for the last how many years we've been at this.
Jeez, yes.
I appreciate that, but as everybody's mentioned, we evolved it as a community. We talk about family, but I think the broader sentence of the sledge hockey program in Manitoba is it's turned into a community, and it's the group here that we help each other and we get along well, and we love to socialize, and we've morphed out into other sports because of sledge, whether it's Sean playing accessible golf, Sam and James playing wheelchair tennis, Darren, wheeling and doing wheelchair tennis as well. So that it not only acted as a community, but it also got us together. And my honest opinion was it showed that particular sport is a building block to succeed at other things, because I believe it was a confidence builder in a lot of people. Maybe not for some of the people in this group, but because a lot of them were confident already, but it's a confidence builder. And when you acquire an injury, or if you're born with one, or or you don't have one, it coming together as a community and sharing the love of that sport, like Sean mentioned, and everybody once they get into a sled is on the same parallel. And then it will just depend on your drive and your talent. It's interesting that everybody thinks that talent comes through your legs in the majority of the sports, but it's interesting that talent is not specifically legs. Talent is innate in your entire body, whether you're sitting down or you're running or cycling. It's quite interesting.
So Bill, tell me more about the Sledge Hockey League in Manitoba. How big are you, and how many teams do you have?
Well, in comparison to parasport, so I'd like to make sure that we outline that, because parasport, you can't hold numbers comparable to non-parasports. So our program is about anywhere between 58 to about 65 players. And it can fluctuate, usually sticks around there. We have 4 levels now, whereas when we first started, all of us played on the same level, on the same ice time, and we'd blow the whistle, and the bigger guys would skate on and play with the puck where it lied, and the little kids would skate off, and they'd sit on the sidelines. And so now we actually grew to about, close to about 60-ish, and we have a novice level, which is all the little kids that go from ages, I think the youngest was about 4, who started, and goes up to around 12. And then we start a transition stage around, depending on how skilled the young person is, at around 10-ish. We started to transition them up into the intermediate level, which is about 13 and beyond. And then we again advanced into an advanced level. We wrestled with the name of that for many years, but we eventually settled on advanced level. And that is for the elite teenager, elite adult, extremely competitive. It's all hitting, extremely aggressive sledge. And it's not for everyone, but it's the ones who do play and they love that level of competition. And then out of that, John, with the work of John and Darren and Sam, we developed a provincial program now, which is I thought was our last step in development. But then last year we implemented our first league in the intermediate level. So we actually developed 4 teams in the intermediate level. And so we have it's a wonderful evolution for the athlete, from little kid to a team concept, now where they can get really good training and coaching and proper instruction on the ice, which then prepares them for the advanced/provincial level, which was missing for a number of years just because of resources and coaching resources, et cetera. So that's our model, and our model covers anyone in the province. So if somebody wants to drive an hour and a half from a town outside of Winnipeg, we're the only sledge hockey program right now, but Winkler Morden will have one in the fall, which we're helping set up.
That's so exciting.
Pardon me? Sledge.
That's so exciting, having more than one opportunity in the province.
And Bill,
Yes.
don't forget that we do have a female kind of division as well.
Oh,
No
yes,
way.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Thanks, Darren.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's great. Again, a lot of the guys sitting around this interview here were involved in the development and the implementation of a women's only opportunity. And as a matter of fact, we have 2 women on the Canadian national team, and I'd be amiss if I didn't mention that.
Yes.
So that's Corinne Wengi and Alyssa White.
Right.
And Alyssa White was the youngest female in Canada to make the Canadian national team, or one of them anyway. And so we implemented a women's only opportunity. What that means is that when we were scheduling practice ice sessions for the particular groups and levels, we implemented a women's only opportunity to practice with their fellow peers. And that was huge for them as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So does everyone need to have a disability to play sled hockey in Manitoba?
No.
Go ahead, James.
Oh yeah, you don't have to necessarily have a disability. When we played tournaments, we had a mix. We'd have couple of able-bodied players, and then the rest would have some sort of disability, either amputation or CP. And you guys can help me out other type of disabilities, but yeah, there is no restrictions unless you get to the national level in terms of what
But one of the things we did do, Daniel. Oh, sorry, James. I didn't mean to.
Oh no, yeah, you could go ahead. We did try to ensure though we'd have a high percentage of disabled players though when we'd go to tournaments. We try to keep it around 70% threshold.
70-30, yeah.
Yeah, 70 disabled.
Cool. You were saying, Bill?
No, I was just going to reiterate what James said, that we as a group wanted to ensure that the sport was played by for the players that it was intended for. We didn't want a sport to be taken over by individuals without disabilities and to be represented in tournaments with the token individual with a disability and 9 other players that didn't have one. We wanted to make sure that that when we progress, that we progress with the population in mind.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
think, oh, sorry, I think as well as also sometimes not having a disability is almost a disadvantage.
Mm.
You know, there's various cramps that can occur on the
Oh,
ice,
yeah.
and,
Just breaking
and so on
legs.
and so forth. Yeah, or you have
Yeah.
very long legs, and it
Long
makes
legs, yes.
it makes it hard
Yeah.
to get around things. So
Yeah.
sometimes even having a disability or not having a disability is the disadvantage.
It's funny because we had the Perth Inferno, which is our women's semi-professional team, because we have no professional teams, come and play us last year,
Mhm.
and they are good. They are really good, but they were lost at sea when they were in a sled. It was
Yes.
so entertaining seeing, you know, the 10 and 11-year-olds
Yeah.
just going around them, and it's like, what am I doing wrong? It was just
That's like
entertainment.
when we play the Blues.
Oh
Yes.
God, that was.
What league is that? Is that WHL?
That's the MJHL.
The
MJ.
MJHL. So we put all the
MJHL.
major junior guys in sleds, and they're just lost, as you said too. But they have a blast, you know. They
Oh,
love
they
it.
do.
It's an automatic battering ram to them, which is
Yes,
funny.
it is. Yeah.
So is the impact of sled hockey in Manitoba? You've said that you've had a few Canadian players going onto the national team. What do you think is the long-term impact of that?
Do you guys have that? Oh, Sam, I think that's your question. I'm going to
Yeah.
follow the list so I don't jump in all the time.
I know. I'm sitting back and being quiet.
And we'll add if you miss anything. So
I think I think you know, just rewinding to the beginning, the impact of having Sledge Hockey Manitoba is that hockey is Manitoba sport. We're a very hockey driven province. We love and breathe and sleep hockey. You know, whether we're Sean with the Shrine of the Montreal Canadiens in the background, or you know, or just avid Jets fans, we live and breathe hockey as a province. And so, you know, just from the get-go, having sledge hockey here means that anyone, regardless of ability, everybody has the opportunity to play hockey and to enjoy it. But I think as well as it also starts putting Manitoba on the map too. You know, we've done some really neat things. We've had you know, Sean and John, Spencer has gone to the National
Yeah.
Development Program.
Mhm.
Logan has gone. You know,
Jordan.
and we
Jordan's
Jordan
gone.
and Alyssa and Corinne. So, you know, we're starting to make waves here in Manitoba, you know, and we're doing some really good things. And so I think the impact of our program is starting to show the breadth of what we can do right from the playground all the way up to the podium.
And if I could just add to that, Sam, the other side of that too, that I think is really important about sledge hockey too, is that it gives individuals a chance to play sport. So you had a lot of these young kids who had never had a chance to be on a team at school or anything like that. And they were always segregated because of their disability or something like that. Now, when we walk into the rinks and there's four-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, all the way up to 12-year-olds, and they're playing on a team, and they're just happy. And it's wonderful to see in that form as well. Just being able to see a young kid who's never had that chance to be on a team, and they're so excited to get on the ice. And if you see them in some of their tournaments and stuff like that in the dressing room, they're super excitable and they're all jazzed up and they got their music blaring. And
You're talking about us?
no, I'm talking about the young guys. But they are, no, we're sleeping in every dressing room before a game. But they're just super happy to be part of a team. And again, that's where that camaraderie comes into play. And they're all friends, which is amazing. Like I don't think that there's anybody that doesn't like each other in sledge hockey, which is a great thing. So.
And you know, I don't want to keep going on it, but I think the one thing that comes to my mind, Daniel, is a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I see in the parents' eyes. I see that in new players' eyes. It's like, oh, I never thought I'd be able to play sport again, or I've always wanted my son or daughter to belong, but they always seem to be on the outside. And you come into a sledge program and there's like, I'm not the only kid wheeling down the hallway, or I'm not the only kid walking down the hallway in crutches. I'm with peers and I belong. This is a sense of belonging. So that's what I see.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you think there's been more opportunities to break down stigmas between disabled and able-bodied due to playing sled hockey?
That's a lengthy conversation, Daniel.
We got 4 hours.
I don't know what is that, Sean's? No, that's not Sean. I
That's
think
not mine.
that's probably an open forum.
Open forum.
You know what? I think and Sam, I think all you guys can add to this piece, but my opinion is attitudes. This is my opinion, so it's open to interpretation or to challenge. My opinion over the years, as I've grown with these folks and the sports, is that attitude is the biggest challenge to change. And I believe that attitude has changed through experiential learning and awareness. And I believe that we've tried really, really hard to break down those attitudinal barriers, and we've made a lot of inroads. But my personal opinion is I think that we still need a long way to go. But we have made drastic improvements in terms of breaking down some attitudinal barriers. So that's where I'll go with it, but I'll leave some of the other guys answer.
I remember when we first started, like when we were trying to get ice time just to start.
Yeah.
And the city of Winnipeg and the surrounding rinks outside the city didn't quite understand the equipment side of things. Because you say, oh, we're just going to have picks at the end of the stick and we'll kind of propel ourselves around the ice. They didn't understand that piece. So when you said ice pick, they thought like you were mountain climbing picks. And they were like, oh, how are we you guys are going to damage our ice? Like, no. And it took a couple meetings, bringing the equipment in, showing them, and they're like, oh, so you basically do as much damage as a figure skate.
Well, and Sean, why don't you speak to the rink, outdoor rink at Jonathan Dave's? That could show you from where we went to where we are now.
Well, yeah, we got an opportunity to help build the first outdoor rink and accessible rink in Canada. So that process was a lot of fun. Got to help with the blueprints and, just help them along the way. We had meetings every 2 weeks, made sure everything worked out. We had clear boards put in. We had no ramp. We had it just turned out to be an amazing, beautiful facility, outdoor rink, accessible to all.
Can I say how jealous I am of you guys with outdoor ice rinks?
Dude, I've broken enough legs that you don't want to feel jealous.
Yeah.
Just wait till December, and then we're kind of asking questions where it's minus 50 with the windshield. So then we'll.
Yeah.
Should we play today? Shouldn't we play today?
Yeah. I mean, look, we have outdoor rinks which are very small. Well, the last couple of years they've been intense because the wind factor just defrosts the ice. But nothing like you guys have with your ponds and outdoor facilities and more than one rink in a city. It's amazing.
We're also blessed, like we have infrastructure. Like our main home is a 4-rink arena.
Yes.
With accessible showers and just some good accessibility thoughts that have been put in. So we're very lucky. But again, that goes back to that question, like changing attitudes and creating awareness. That was from our awareness of working the 50-50 sales at the Manitoba Moose Games. Back in the day. And so we became visible, and they were able to make a rink that was more accessible to us, and that's been our home base since.
Yeah,
that's right. And again, I think Sean was involved in that as well, in some of the stages, like I think the accessible shower room, etc. I think was there not, Sean, at the Iceplex?
No, I wasn't involved in that.
I had a little bit to do with that one.
Oh, you had it? Oh, okay. I knew one of the players had some.
I was explaining to Daniel before everybody else got on about the showers and asking what we needed. And I said, well, we need a bench that, at least the guys who are paras, need a bench that our feet can touch the ground so we don't feel like we're going to fall over or anything like that. And the next week I went into the shower room and the bench was 6 feet away from the taps. So I brought the general manager in, and I literally just sat on the bench and reached across And again, everybody knows how long my arms are, but I still couldn't reach the taps. And he just looked there and he just went, anyways, but they had it fixed the next week, and they've done a great job. Yep.
Nice.
Do you know how many rinks have that problem?
Oh.
They make it accessible, and then you get in the shower and you're like, yo, bro, I need you to turn the water on for me. I can't reach.
Well, at least you have showers.
Oh, you guys don't have showers?
We normally get dressed just outside off the ice. We don't really use the dressing rooms because they're not really the most easiest place to get into.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So
You're making it sound like we're spoiled. I guess we got it pretty good. But
I
we
was
want
gonna
more.
say, from when we first started to what we are now, we are
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
spoiled.
Well,
Huge.
remember when we dressed in the Zamboni room?
Yes,
Yeah. Oh, we've
In
done all
Crawford?
sorts of stuff.
we've done lots of stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
just do
Zamboni
what you
door
gotta.
opens and we're half naked.
Hey,
We did what we had to do to get awareness out there.
Oh
We
yeah,
did.
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And we did a lot, Daniel. We've gone all over the place. We set up a small chapter in Kenora, which is about 2.5 hours, 3 hours outside of Winnipeg, east of Manitoba, and we've been involved in lots of stuff. There's so much. I know that I keep saying, because I'd love to be able to walk out the door and not have to deal with somebody who's not aware of sledge or any accessible sport and some of the accommodations that are required, but we're still a ways away from that even here. So we've accomplished so much over the years, but it's still surprising when you run into somebody and you mention, play sledge hockey or I'm involved in the sledge hockey, and they go, what's that?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we've been around since 2007, and if you haven't walked through the Iceplex on a Sunday from between 11:30 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon, and you could not miss sledge because we're on that for that entire duration. So
Oh,
it still
wow.
surprises me.
So what is, we have a few coaches in the Zoom call here. What is the drill that you guys hate the most as players?
Oh, these
That's
guys.
Sean's.
Yeah.
Anything to do with skating, man makers, downs and ups,
Start,
You know,
stop,
he's-
start, stop.
start stops, those kill everybody. Anything to do with skating, none of us like. We don't like cardio. We're old. But the young guys, they seem to, they don't mind the cardio, but anything to do, cardio, it's not so much. It's not so much fun. Or shooting left with your left hand.
Yes. Yeah.
Unless you're left-handed, that is.
Dominant.
Well, except for Sam, because he's a
Yeah,
lefty.
Sam's fine.
So Sam hates using his right hand.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit of both. So
But yeah, that would probably be the one drill that everybody hates the most. Man makers or starts and stops or downs and ups. And
How do
Sorry,
you
go
go
ahead.
about developing goalies as well?
Trial and error.
Developing goalies?
Yeah, that's
I've kind of helped John a little bit along the way. I got a couple of tips from guys from the national team when I got to go there and do a couple of camps with those guys over the years. And I'd always take some feedback from those guys and became tight with the goalies. And they knew we had a goalie here in Manitoba. So I always got some tips for him. And then Johnny kind of worked with the one-on-one coaching. And you can
So,
take it from
yes.
there if you want, Johnny.
yeah, it's the big part is like even in Canada in general, there was a big shortage of goalies at the time when we started. The only ones on in Canada that were really big names were the ones with Hockey Canada, and there was only Paul Rosen and Benoit Saint-Amand, and then some of the younger guys coming up the pipeline. So there wasn't a lot. So for myself, it was, like I said earlier, we just I was the one guy that came out prepared. I had wasn't exactly goalie equipment at the time, but I had shoulder pads. I had all the padding to kind of be thrown in net. So Sean and Bill were like, okay, go in net because you have the equipment. You're not going to get hurt. So,
But basically, Sean taught
and
you everything.
He became our
taught-
guinea pig. He became our guinea pig.
pretty much it was let's see.
John learned a lot, and
I've
we
actually
all learned a lot.
I've changed probably the style of my play probably in the last 6 years. Probably I've changed
Yeah.
from starting out as a straight-legged goalie to sitting cross-legged.
Yep, with cross-legged sled.
Good point.
Yeah, and it's a little bit, a lot of people kind of, even the guys here will actually say is like, I don't understand how John can sit there for an hour in ice time and then be able to get up after. And I do have more feeling in my lower extremities. My CP is very mild, but like, it's to get goaltenders, it's basic. A lot of kids don't want to be in net. I've found they don't want to be in net. They don't want to be, like, part of it is they don't want to be standing still because it's a waiting game in some aspects. But I know Bill has sort of done a great job with the lower levels of basically saying is everyone has to at least do it for a game. I've sort of taken the approach of when Bill's asked me, he's like, hey, can you come out and take a look at some goalies that are interested in pursuing the position? I'll come out and take a look, and I kind of take the step back approach just because there hasn't been I want to be a goalie. This is all I want to do from a lot of the kids that are right now. I think we have 4 goalies that are actually committed to the position in Manitoba. And
none of them came from grassroots. Oh, Logan did.
Logan's
the only one.
Yeah.
Logan started out as a positional player, and
Yes.
and then realized he with his CP, it was affecting him too much. So he actually transitioned to a goalie, and he's turned out to be one of our best. He's quite good. Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the midst of.
He gives me a run for my money.
Yeah.
We're in the midst of.
The other aspect of it, especially with the goaltending training I found, is it's a lot of like knowing where you are in the net. Like there's times where Sean can probably attest to watching me play, and it's like he'll score on me and he'll come back or loop around the net and be like, you were way too far over to your post and you left all that back open. Like it's little things here and there that I tend to cheat sometimes a little too much in net. So I try to push guys to go the way I want them to. And the higher end guys like Sean and James and Darren and Bill back when he was in the prime.
The problem is too with a goalie first starting out in our league is we had nobody really to shoot on John, or anybody that wanted to play on net. So we had to have an able-bodied person come in and shoot.
Yes.
Now shooting as an able-bodied person compared to an adaptive sledge hockey player, the puck comes completely different off your stick. So it completely different. So trying to train in the beginning to watch a guy's puck come off his stick as an able body, and then kind of having to switch over and progress as we got better as a team and started to learn how to shoot the puck. Then he got to pick some things up and it's just trial and error for a lot of it. It's like all of us,
We're in the midst of converting all our goalies from straight leg to cross leg. So it's going to be a fun thing because we've got a few more cross-leg sleds coming from Unique Inventions who are awesome.
Yes.
So it's going to be a real journey in the near future.
One of the things that if you haven't already implemented, we just started implementing it recently, is we started saving. We had a pile of sledge sticks, and a lot of them were wood. And what I ended up doing is I cut the blades off them and left the picks on. And so now we're implementing those sticks in our practices where one stick has a blade and one stick doesn't. So you're forcing the kids to become ambidextrous
and use their non-dominant.
So that seems to be helpful. They don't like it too much, but it definitely is forcing them to use the other hand a little more than others.
That's a good idea.
They'll learn to enjoy it when we start to shoot.
Yeah.
Yes, they will.
Yeah. We should even do that.
Oh, we're too old.
We've been
now.
saying that for years, but we're too old.
Or just pull the plug out.
I'm not chasing my ways.
Okay, fair enough.
Guess what's happening on practice on Sunday, guys?
Call it the Manitoba drill.
Whenever mine
So-
starts and stops and ups and downs, now that's our first. That's what we're doing there. Yeah.
How did the Manitoba drill come about? Well, we talked to an Australian.
There you go.
So what is the one drill that everyone loves working on?
Anything to
that's
do with
yours.
shooting? No, that's mine. Anything to do with shooting or body contact.
Oh, body contact.
Yeah.
See, there's
Yeah.
one guy. Sam's already drooling. Mentioned the word body contact. Like, didn't even say cheeseburger, Sammy. I said contact. I love you, buddy.
No,
No, it's shooting on a goalie. You know, it sucks as a player. You can skate around and shoot on an empty net as much as you want.
Yeah.
It's fun and all, but you need that goalie aspect to improve as a player, and it just makes it a lot more enjoyable. So any type of shooting drill kind of keeps your players involved more, and do the horseshoe, get warmed up.
Yeah, horseshoes, good one.
Yeah. I have
What
a,
we do with the kids piece, the children's piece, is that we try to take the technical. We only teach a little bit of technical. So
Mhm.
we actually try to teach a lot of skating via games. So British Bulldog, Asteroids, where they're having fun at it and they're actually building their strength without realizing that we're actually getting what we want them to do. And those games also force turning and other aspects of it. In the lower level novice, I think in a drill situation in the grassroots with the little kids, the more you can keep it entertaining and fun and moving, the longer they'll stay in the game and they'll stay focused.
Yeah.
And then they'll start getting as they get older, then you start implementing what Sean was saying, the shooting and
Oh yeah,
and
that
other-
British Bulldog for the kids, they love it. And
Yeah.
like you said, it works every muscle, turning both ways. It's another one is throw 4 tennis balls on the ice and tell them to score on any net.
That's right.
Yeah. Then you got a ball that's bouncing, so it works on hand-eye coordination. It's going left, it's going right, it's hitting toes, it's bouncing everywhere. So yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. It's amazing how we have a year old in our team and we're having a chat after training and he's like, I can't wait to hit somebody in the next game. It's like, you're 11 years old, you can't hit people. But I mean, look, he's in a wheelchair and he's just like, this physical contact is awesome. And it's like,
Yeah,
it's so much fun.
Oh yeah, no, that's
it
part of
just
the
makes
game.
you feel normal.
Oh,
Makes you
and that's
feel
why
on the
he's so
same
sad.
level as everybody, right? It makes you so
Part of
that
the
guy
game.
just oh, that's a teammate. That guy he just walked by me. What? He just gave me some stink eye. I'm gonna hit him on the ice. And then you can just hit him clean. It's fair, it's fun, I don't know. Lets out some aggression, I guess.
well, and Daniel, the funniest thing is like we talked about that very first tournament that we went to, so that all of us were there. And that's basically what we were known for in any of the tournaments that we play in. We're the most physical team out there. And people look at us and they're like, you guys are playing sledge hockey. You're not supposed to be hitting. And I'm like, what are you talking about? If you watch on the national scale, that's what we hit like. We hit as hard as we can. And I think my favorite part when we first started in that tournament was Bill would hit the guy at the blue line. Sean would pick up the puck, start to rush out and get it up to the forwards. And that's how we scored. We would always cause turnovers by hitting.
Bill, we
And
were
they
awesome
expect it.
team,
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
There was, I think every team in that tournament said that we have never been hit so hard.
Yeah.
And it's the Manitoba calling card. We just come in, we take bodies.
Yeah. This
and
is
to be
part of
honest,
your
that's
culture now?
That's every tournament we go to.
Every tournament we've
Yeah.
gone to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even
It's
the
a
last
Manitoba
London,
way.
it totally is.
I've been hit so hard by Bill's son, and his name is John. He hit me so hard I felt my legs, and I'm not kidding. I had a stinger go through my spine and down into my
Jeez.
toes, and I could actually feel my feet. That's how hard he hit me, and like knocked me right on my back. And
I'll tell
I
him to hit you again.
literally could hear everybody on the sidelines going, "Oh!" But yeah, it was a lot of fun. So
Yeah. So if I have friends around the world with about particularly in Canada. So if I said Sledge Hockey Manitoba, everyone would go, "Oh, physical violence! Watch out for them," type of stuff.
Good chance, yes.
Yeah,
They do what they gotta do to win.
It's interesting seeing how hockey's your sport and how much the progression of sled hockey has evolved as stand-up hockey, and the NHL has helped push the sport to new heights. I mean, I understand there's an NHL sled hockey tournament or something like that where sled hockey teams.
Yeah, this NHL Sledge Hockey Classic.
Yeah. Have you guys ever been involved with that?
We went once. Yep.
We went 1 year, yes.
It's a cost factor for us. It's predominantly held by, it's not predominantly, it's held in the United States. It's actually, it's sanctioned by USA Hockey. And so the tournament sites are usually, well, the reason we were able to attend the one and only time is because it was held in Minnesota, which we could drive, which is about a 7-hour drive from 7 to 8 hour drive from Manitoba.
Yeah.
But historically, they've been holding that tournament in Florida and Tampa Bay and
Nashville.
Nashville. It just became really cost prohibitive for us. And unfortunately for us, it's nice to have the NHL affiliations. We'll call it an affiliation. Unfortunately, those affiliations don't come with any dollars.
We definitely know that.
Any kind of travel. So that's the downfall, unfortunately.
It's disgusting.
So we definitely have a partnership with the Jets. It's very loose handshake agreement.
Yeah.
But one of the outcomes was having this interview with you guys, because the Jets said, well, if you know sled hockey, you should have a chat to Sledge Hockey Manitoba. What do the Jets mean to you guys as a partnership and as a team?
Is there somebody do I have that on there? Who's got that? Well, I'll speak from my perspective, and then I'll let the guys jump in. It's definitely important to have the affiliation with the Winnipeg Jets. In terms of what the partnership entails, is open to debate. We do get to represent the Winnipeg Jets when we travel, so we do have Winnipeg Jet jerseys, and we use them in the Classic, and we do use them when we travel to some degree if we're not representing the provincial team. I think again, breaking down barriers for full and equal participation and inclusion, the one huge benefit that Sledge Hockey received this year is in partnership with Tim Hortons Timbits program, was we were able to do an in-between periods presentation on ice with in between the Winnipeg Jets and the Chicago Blackhawks game, and with the Sledgehammers. That's the name of the junior team, the little kids team. They're called the Sledgehammers. And then so I think that having that involvement with the Winnipeg Jets definitely helped. I'll let the other guys jump in.
I can't say anything.
I think from the very beginning, when we started out in 2007, we were playing at all sorts of different rinks across the city, and the Jets did allow us to play on their ice.
The Manitoba Moose did.
Yeah, or the Manitoba Moose. Yeah, about once every about twice a month. So that was helpful, and I mean, it was nice to be able to play in an NHL caliber rink. So they were able to help us out a little bit there, and with the Iceplex, whether it would be the Jets or whether it be the Chipman family themselves, they were helpful in the fact that they did listen to us and ask us what we needed when it came to a rink, and they pretty much gave us everything we needed. Like I said, the ice is flat to the surface, so there's no getting up into the boards. They gave us the shower facilities that we needed. So they were good in that fashion, but again, there's not a lot of dollars that comes to it, but there has been support in certain areas at the same time as well too. Yeah.
And I think I could just add that, with the exception of Sean,
the turncoat.
Yeah, there's a sense of pride of being able to go to a tournament and wear the Winnipeg Jets jersey. I think there's a lot of.
Don't get me wrong, I love wearing the Jets and representing the Jets when we go play tournaments, boys. Let's just play that.
There you go.
But
I knew it was coming sooner or later. I'm ready. I'm ready.
yeah,
but that was funny.
we're eventually gonna transplant Sean into Montreal and teach him French, but
Say we.
James and I can do that.
but
James and I can
there,
do that.
there is this sense of pride that you get in, and there's a level of prestige of actually getting to wear your hometown's NHL jersey while traveling abroad, and you're not only representing our province, but you're also representing the Jets in that regard, and I think that's a huge honor for us to be able to have.
I think the other thing I think you see a little bit, not necessarily like you didn't see it when we first got the partnership, but now that we have a lot more younger kids coming up the system, is that the guys here have basically established and basically have shown, okay, I can represent, like any kid in Canada dreamed about playing hockey in the NHL and playing junior and whatever. And now that they can see like guys like Sean, myself, Darren, Sam, James play at tournaments with the Jets jersey or even the provincial team, it's like, I want to work for that. I want that piece.
Yeah.
I want to represent the Jets. Like it's motivation for the younger kids coming up now, where before, in a sense, and Sean, in a sense, was my motivation to be able to drive further into sledge hockey because I saw him excel at the national level. So I'm like, okay, if he can do it, why can't I?
Now, one of the things that Manitoba Possible does is an off-ice fitness program via YouTube. How did that come about?
Yes, that's two of our players, actually. That's Luke and Isaiah. And so Luke and Isaiah, they're brothers. Luke has a disability, Isaiah doesn't. They both play on the provincial team. Mm-hmm. And Manitoba Possible runs a variety of different recreation programs. And because of the COVID, we had to go from in-person to virtual programming. And we ended up trying to be as creative as possible to provide as much programming to a variety of individuals, all abilities and ages. And one of them, the ideas that came up was having a little workout video that Isaiah and Luke wanted to deliver. And so that's how that got started. And the other thing about Luke and Isaiah, additional piece to that, is that Isaiah is in a multimedia course, and what he's been able to do is take snippets of national players and make vignettes for them, and then he also posts that on YouTube, and now he's being sought after by quite a few of the national players, not only in Canada but in the US, to make vignettes of their best plays. So
nice.
Well, that was Isaiah.
Guys, pardon me?
Oh, I didn't realize that was Isaiah doing that.
Yeah. He's made one for Bill Bridges. Farmer from the U.S. has reached out. They believe Dean Douglas from the U.S. as well reached out to them to do these vignettes for them. And so
that's cool.
that's how it progressed, and it was really neat. It just depended on the day and how many players would show up, but it reached all levels. Went all the way from the advanced level all the way to the kids. And they were awesome.
Did you ever think that it would be used around the world as a standard for off-ice training?
No, I did not. We didn't. We just thought, let's just do this thing. These guys were. We put a disclaimer in there because they're not trainers. If you feel any interest or pulls, please stop doing these exercises.
I'm seizing.
Luckily for the guys who are paraplegics, if we break something, we don't feel it. So we're good.
But it was really good. It was an awesome experience for them.
What is the one piece of advice or encouragement that you'd like to give sled hockey players and coaches?
You guys answer.
I would make sure a coach gets into a sled and at least tries it.
Yeah.
That's one bit of advice,
Yeah.
So they can actually see how the play is a little bit different. They'll understand from the level. And for the refs, be very, very verbal. We can't skate backwards. So if you're icing the puck, we can't tell if it's waved off or nothing like that. So for a ref, I would say be as verbal as possible.
And I think from my point of view, is sledge isn't an easy game to learn. It takes a while to understand how a sled works, how to be able to shoot properly and things like that. And if you love hockey, you shouldn't need as much encouragement as maybe some people think, because it's such a great sport. But we're always there to help encourage and to help tell people is you know what, you're not going to be perfect at it to begin with, and I don't think anybody's ever perfect at sledge hockey, but just keep working at it. Keep working at it. It's the same as anything. You know, you get, as you work at it, you get better and better and better. And you can see just from, and Luke is a very good example of that, because he started out as a pusher. So he would have somebody behind him that would push him. And then he got to the point where he was able to get strong enough, and he's got what's his disability, Bill?
It's a form of muscular dystrophy.
Okay, so he's got a form of muscular dystrophy. So one of his hands is much weaker than the other, but he got to a point where he can now skate straight, and his dominant hand is ridiculously strong, because I've seen him roof the puck a couple of times. And not only did he go from using a wheelchair, but he's now actually walking at the same time as well.
Wow.
So
And that another
That's-
note I'd like to make on that is for a coaching aspect is they got to be adaptive. You know, not every disability is the same, and not every sled's going to be the same. Not every player is going to be the same. You have to take that into consideration when you're trying to coach.
Yeah,
Just
for sure.
got to learn to adapt.
And be creative as well.
Yeah,
You know, they're, you know, we often think because, you know, we're only one directional skaters, you know, that, you know, things are very linear, but, you know, there's a lot of opportunities to be creative with different plays, like, you know, doing drop passes and weaving in and out amongst players, but also allowing for that creativity for the individual player as well. You know, seeing if they can figure out a new shooting technique that makes their shot better. You know, just having those opportunities to be adaptive, but also to be creative and to try to learn a new skill.
I would say don't rush anybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
That's a
always
good
have
one.
a tendency, as soon as we get on that ice, we think we can put our blades in closer, quicker. And that's a mistake. That's a mistake. We've learned that over the years. Just go notch at a time. They're unique sleds, so they got the teeth in them. Go one notch at a time until the person, until their time to flip. But I would never rush. They shouldn't be rushing to move those blades in closer.
No,
That's my opinion.
I agree.
That's all really good advice. What do you think it's like being an able-bodied playing para ice hockey?
I guess that's mine, eh?
That's yours.
it is.
Well, Bill, considering I can't feel my legs, that's yours.
Yeah.
That's a good question. And I'm going to give you an honest answer. How I feel about it is that I actually don't differentiate the two. I don't look at any of the players as having a disability. I look like I'm going. My attitude is when I go to the rink that I'm going to play an accessible form, or not. Sorry, I'm going to back up because of this wrong language I use usually now. Is an alternate way of playing ice hockey.
Yeah.
I don't use the accessible terminology anymore. I use an alternate way of playing ice hockey.
Yeah.
And so when I go into the rink, I don't see Sean in a chair. I don't see James with his prosthetic removed. I don't see Darren in his chair, you know, etc. I just see, am I playing against them? And do I get to hit them? So I think that's how I look at it from an able-bodied perspective. I guess the other thing is, what's that? Oh, your cat. The other thing I think from an enlightening experience from somebody who doesn't have a disability is that over the years that I've seen some of the benefits associated. Sean's already mentioned, or Darren's mentioned too, about Luke. But some of the other things is that everybody shares the same emotions when it comes to team sport. They want to be part of a team. They want to belong. They want to play, hopefully for life, and they want to have some competition in it. And I don't care if it's an alternate way of playing sport or not. Going to tournaments with these guys and being involved in sledge is you don't see that anymore. I just don't see it.
We're like Australians. We love beer. So
That is true.
yeah.
I grew up playing able body hockey and then had to go to sledge because of my car accident. And I love sledge hockey more than I love able body hockey growing up.
Yeah, it's interesting because people think that you can just jump on a sled and you'll be awesome because you're awesome on the ice with skates.
Yeah.
And they get off and they go, I have never been so sore in my life because we just don't use the upper body the way. I mean, I've got CP as well, but
Muscle
yeah, you just
confusion.
you don't use the body that way, especially the upper body with that amount of physicality.
That's right.
And it's funny you mentioned that, Daniel, because maybe about a month ago, I was experiencing some soreness in my shoulders and found out that I've got arthritis in both shoulders, basically from the sports that I've played. But that's not going to stop me from playing. I'll take an Advil here or there, or put a little bit of cream on there and keep going because that's what we do. So.
So who are the players I should be keeping an eye on? Who's the up and coming ones that I need to be scared of when Australia reaches the World Championships from Manitoba?
I think John, you're part of the provincial
Spencer?
team. Yeah, Spencer.
Liam Hickey.
If Isaiah had a form of a disability, he'd be one to watch. He is dynamite.
For sure, yeah.
He is something else.
Yeah,
he's good.
Yeah, I think Bernard is another one. Bernard is.
Why can't I think of his name? Oh my gosh, he makes
The
me
guy
so
with
mad on the
the
ice.
arms and the head and the eyes. That
He
one.
makes me so angry on the ice. He never listens. I'm just having
Teo?
fun.
Omar.
Every time you give him, he just turns and laughs at you. I love the sport, Sean. I love the sport, and he just takes off. You can't even get serious with the guy, man. He makes me so mad.
Yeah, he's got a lot of. Yeah, he's good too. Yeah.
If he could just pick up the game and just kind of concentrate, he would be really good. Like he's fast, he's got a shot. If he could just get some knowledge of the he's strong. Yeah, strong is right.
He's literally got biceps on top of his biceps.
There's no
and I'm
body
not
fat.
kidding. Like it's ridiculous. And he's like 19 now, I think.
No, he's in his early 20s now, I think.
Is he 20s now? Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he could be somebody to watch out for if he sticks through it.
Yeah, we've got an amazing player called Igor, and he's a PT when he's not playing ice hockey, but he practices off the ice like nothing else. And he's strong. Yeah, it's amazing. We are proudly sponsored by Healthway through the Act Belong Commit program. And that's all about community, mental health, physical health, being part of a community. What do you think is the takeaway from Sledge Hockey Manitoba in community engagement and Manitoba Possible as a greater extent?
Well, Manitoba Possible's main vision is to break down barriers for full and equal participation. Like that's our main vision. That's what we live and breathe at our organization. And these, Sledge, we're talking about Sledge because this is what the topic is, but Manitoba Possible is a community-based social organization that reaches out to a variety of different consumer groups. And I think for Sledge Hockey and Sledge Hockey Manitoba, the partnership that we've developed and evolved with is that I think we've made a difference in terms of creating and illustrating an effective model for other organizations to be able to follow, whether it's recognizing that physical literacy for individuals of all abilities is important to install, and to demonstrate that people should not specifically play one particular sport. They should actually try to be engaged in what they love. And I think another thing is that from our perspective, it's not necessarily a sport you can fall in love with it. We shouldn't take away from the aspect that people might not be athletic, but they may be in the arts, or they might like dance, or they might like music, and they should follow those passions. And I believe that those are some of the things that Manitoba Possible has done, and Sledge Hockey Manitoba have done for Manitoba is illustrated a grassroots program that focused on recreation and physical fitness and involvement and learning to play a sport for life, as opposed to saying we want elite athletes only. Elite athletes will percolate to the top eventually. It's up to the program to actually make sure that there's a level for them to go to when they get to that top. And I think with all the guys here and feedback from family and parents, et cetera, that we've created enough levels that will meet the needs of anybody who plays the sport. So that's my perspective.
And I think just reflecting back on attitudinal perceptions in society, growing up with a disability, I grew up with spina bifida, and I've lost count of the number of times that I've been told I can't in society. I can't wheel to school because it's dangerous for a person in a wheelchair to wheel to school by themselves. I've been told I can't do the half marathon because it's too long. And sledge hockey, and I would say even sport in general, is an opportunity to where you can go and discover yourself, and the implications for both physical health, especially with sledge hockey as a wheelchair user. It's a great muscle balancer. We're definitely chest dominant when we're using our wheelchairs all the times, and it just helps balance all the muscles in the back in order to kind of keep our bodies in great, in better positions. But at the end of the day, it's also mental health, and that comes from being part of a community. It's from opportunities to socialize where there are increased instances of social isolation in the disability community, and so on and so forth. So the implications for both physical and mental health from sledge hockey and sport in general are just massive, especially for our communities.
Yeah, well said, Sam. Well said.
I also think it's really important to be known that you're so much more than the bad things that happen to you too. And I mean, everybody looks at us and they see, disabilities or legs missing or whatever it might be. And we will just want people to know that we are athletes and we're strong athletes. And that's something that's hopefully getting out into that community awareness of people who never knew about sledge hockey or didn't know about people with disabilities or never met somebody in a wheelchair or like an amputee or something like that. We provide that awareness to people. So for example, Sean and I know we have girlfriends that are able-bodied, and when they first met us, they didn't know a whole lot about disabilities and things like that. And now they understand that awareness part of things, and they spread that to their friends, and then it's a ripple effect of going farther and farther and farther out, so that people understand we're just the same as everybody else. We just do things a little bit different. So
just got to learn to adapt on some things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Final question: what is the one takeaway that you would like to leave our viewers with?
Who wants to start on that one?
It's your square.
Okay, fair enough. I think the one takeaway, and we talked about it, I think in general throughout this whole thing, was that it's a camaraderie. I consider all these guys on this page to be my brothers. And I know that if I ever needed anything, they'd take the shirt off their back and give it to me. And that's, we go to war with each other every time we get on the ice. And whether we win a tournament or we lose a tournament, we're a core group, and we literally love each other like a family. So that's for me.
I would think, I think the only one word I'll use is play. Just accept the word play and play to your fullest extent and enjoy the game, because the game is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
And it's hard, but every game is hard to learn. And ultimately, you just want to play for life. I want to play forever.
Yeah.
For me, it would be confidence. Sport has given me crazy confidence after my car accident. Yeah. Where I felt like everyone was staring at me, looking at me, that I'm in a wheelchair. Oh my God, look at him, look at him. I don't want to go to the mall type thing. To hell with you. I'm a national athlete. I play hockey probably better than you can. I'm more active than you probably are. It's just confidence. Yeah. And then, yeah.
Family. Well, think about it this way, Sean. You wear shorts now.
I know, and I never used to wear shorts in public.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, we were always self-confident about how skinny our legs are. I always consider myself like an ostrich. I'm big up top and tiny, skinny little legs. But I don't really give a crap to wearing shorts now because this is I've got the confidence to be able to do that outside. And if somebody wants to look at me sideways or cockeyed, whatever, that's fine. That's
So
up to
be
them.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say community. I guess before I played sledge hockey, even though I had a disability, I didn't really know that many people that had a disability. So joining the sledge hockey community, I just developed a great, I guess, number of friends just by playing the sport and then just building relationships from there. So that's one thing I'll add.
Tammy?
I'm gonna say experience and and really learning to enjoy the experience of sport and of sledge hockey. Going right from the fundamentals of that experience of being in a dressing room, being confident in your body, because the dressing room itself is an exposing environment. We have various conditions.
It is.
Good point.
We don't need to go.
No, we don't need to go into that part.
Not in the typical typical
Ability
fashion, but we all have different abilities and different bodies, and and being comfortable with our bodies, and then the experience of being on the ice and just the power of being going in for those hits and just having that sense of dominance too. Also, like my very first road trip ever in my life was to Calgary in 2009 with these 6 guys. That was the first time I ever got into a car, went long distance. I had a wheelchair wedged into my side for 16 hours.
Wow.
Should have moved it.
We had nowhere else to put it. And,
My truck was full.
but that was an experience for me. It was an experience being able to go and take my first trip into the United States with these guys as well and go play sledge hockey there. I got to go for the experience of playing for the enemy and going and playing with Minnesota for a tournament and learning a James's
sorry
background.
I know it went, I was trying, I'm turning to the Matrix here, sorry.
But I got to go and even
Getting dark.
play for the enemy and learn different coaching styles. And it's really all about building experiences and taking those life lessons with you wherever you go.
I have life memories from playing sledge hockey.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Sean and I almost died driving to a tournament. So in a car, we hit black ice. And
boy.
how many times did we spin, Sam?
It was 1.5.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So
one
you-
and a half
Only
minutes,
doing about
right.
85 kilometers an hour. That was okay.
Yeah. So you did the axle of car crashes then,
Yeah.
as in the figure skating jump. All right, John,
you get
final
the
word.
last word, John.
Yeah, John, you didn't mention anything.
Yeah, for me, it's I've probably, like as Sam and Shauna both said, it's kind of about experience. And as myself having cerebral palsy, a lot of people don't associate myself with a disability because I'm able-bodied or I can walk, I should say, and sort of seeing what other people have gone through have sort of given me a better appreciation for what they've gone through in their life and what we've done together as a group. And a lot of the times I probably wouldn't be still playing sledge hockey in general if it wasn't for the guys here. And especially Bill and Sean to actually keep me around and allow me to basically pursue my dreams of the national team for one, and my crazy goals of what we wanted to do with the program back when we first started, that we wanted to implement this and that, and we just weren't at that level. But
Getting there.
yeah, we're slowly getting there. But everything that the person that I've become since starting this in 2007 with Bill, out of a whim of an email to Hockey Canada, I've probably become a better person for it. And it's because of everyone that I've either talked to through, who's come through the program through Manitoba Possible or the team, or team we played, or me traveling for Hockey Canada, it's I'm grateful for allowing to basically get very personable in some ways with a lot of these guys in one way or another.
Well, and we lean on each other too, right? I mean, we've all had issues. Like, I know there's some of us that have issues with, you know, confidence or mental issues or whatever it might be, mental health and things like that. And we've leaned on each other just for that as well. So we pick each other's brains on all sorts of different things. And I know that the one thing I love to say is that Sean is a great mentor. He's a screaming mentor, but whenever he yells at you, you know he cares. And that's the good thing about it, is, like I said, he's got oodles and oodles of hockey knowledge in his head, and he shares it with us to make us better people. And we do the same thing with other people too. Like I said, when it comes to just leaning on each other for all sorts of issues. I mean, like, if somebody needs a ride, we go and pick them up. Sean lives on the completely other side of the city, and I would go and pick him up in an instant if he needed it. So that's, like I said, we lean on each other, and I think that's another huge aspect of our team. And
make
not
life
just,
memories.
yeah, not just our team, but I mean the Manitoba Possible Sledge Hockey team of everybody. Anyways, from the kids to 4 years old, because when we walk into a rink, they come and they're like, "Oh, hi, Sean, hi, Darren." Like, Evan is the perfect example. That kid kills me every single time.
He's funny.
Yeah, he's hilarious, and it's just fun to be around that environment. I feel like I've got 50 little brothers and sisters that I can mentor, and I'm the youngest child in my family, so I never had a little brother that I could, you know, play around with and goof around with and type of stuff like that. And now I can do it every weekend, which is so much fun. So.
Well, it's been a wonderful pleasure having you all on the ShutOut Report. Thank you so much for coming on. And we look forward to doing more stuff with Sledge Hockey Manitoba and Manitoba Possible in the near future.
Thanks
Sorry
for
you have
having
so
us,
much.
Daniel.
Thank you,
Sorry,
Daniel.
we were so long and you have lots of editing to do, Daniel.
Great,
It was a
great
pleasure
minds
to
think
meet you.
alike, Sean.
Yeah,
I
it
think the
was-
same thing.
It's a pleasure to meet you. Well, hopefully
Yes.
we'll talk soon.